our speech is in any way a reflection of what goes on inside your head, you are lucky you can tie your shoes.
Let the games begin! Hi-yo! Hi-yo! Hi-yo!
I'd always believed that an anti-Semite was someone who hates Jews. But now I find that it's someone who a few Jews hate.
That doesn't make sense.
As a Jew, we do see anti-Semites who've been rejected by the Palestine Solidarity Movement, like Gilad Atzmon, wear this as a badge of honor. It kind of worked on me, but just not in the way they wanted, because I was wondering where all the Palestinians were. And I decided to meet some at some point. I decided to investigate. I decided to be curious. As a Jew, I've always been taught to question. I've been told that that's part of our culture and our tradition, and that's what I did, questioning the political project of Zionism and how it's attempted to keep Jews around the world in a kind of captivity, a mental captivity, and how it's kept Palestinians in a physical captivity. I came to the conclusion at some point that Zionism was a prison for Jewish minds and Palestinian bodies. And I think there's nothing anti-Semitic about saying that. One danger of this kind of demagogic exploitation of the anti-Semite label, attacking people like me as anti-Semites because of my opinion on the political project of Zionism, is that actual anti-Semites can start to wear this label as a badge of honor and claim persecution because those who are exploiting it have negated it and sapped it of all meaning. And we do see that happening. We do see anti-Semites who've been rejected by the Palestine Solidarity Movement, like Gilad Atzmon, wear this as a badge of honor, as they incite against Jews. That's the danger. I don't think that the hardcore Zionists really care that they're putting Jewish life in danger in the diaspora. They don't care that they're destabilizing Jewish life. One of their nightmares, one of their biggest fears, is the absence of anti-Semitism. Because without anti-Semitism in the West, there is no political justification for the Zionist project, which is supposed to exist as a sanctuary from anti-Semitism. So in so many ways, they're acting in a de facto coalition with anti-Semites.
That doesn't make sense.
Once more into the breach, dear friends.
We believe here, those of us who are, support BDS, who support Palestine Solidarity, that the problem is colonialism. And that if Chinese people had come to enact a project of colonialism in historic Palestine, Palestinians would have resisted them as well, and they would have adopted potentially xenophobic attitudes. It's my understanding that Native Americans who live on reservations aren't particularly fond of the white man, but we don't run international campaigns to demonize them as anti-white. It's kind of understood. Because it's anti-Semites, real anti-Semites, and they exist, who seek to implicate all of the Jews in the world in Israel's crimes against Palestinians. It's anti-Semites who claim that the source of the crisis in Israel-Palestine is Judaism, is the Jewish religion and Jewish people, and not colonialism. We believe here, those of us who are, support BDS, who support Palestine solidarity, that the problem is colonialism, and that if Chinese people had come to enact a project of colonialism in historic Palestine, Palestinians would have resisted them as well, and they would have adopted potentially xenophobic attitudes, because the people who were colonizing them, dispossessing them, removing them from their homes, were claiming to act on behalf of all Chinese people. I mean, that's not happening, but that's what would have happened. That's what happens in any case where you witness settler colonialism. It's my understanding that Native Americans who live on reservations aren't particularly fond of the white man, but we don't run international campaigns to demonize them as anti-white. It's kind of understood. But from liberal Zionists. I know that's a funny term to those of you who are sort of unindoctrinated on this issue. It's kind of like saying promiscuous virgin. Like, how can you be a liberal supporter of an ethnocracy that engineers a demographic majority for one ethnic group and provides it with superior rights over indigenous people as official policy? It doesn't seem very sensible. And they never really want to engage in the debate on how they can balance liberalism with Zionism.
Now, let me just give some context about this event, because you're going to hear from three speakers tonight. I've been told all three are Jewish Americans, which means that all three have more privileges and rights than 100% of Palestinians living between the river and the sea, which goes to the essential logic of a Jewish state. And only one of those speakers, me, is going to be arguing that that privilege should be eliminated, and that people should all enjoy equal rights between the river and the sea. I learned that kind of as an American. We arrived at a village called Al-Araqib, one of the 80 unrecognized Bedouin villages in the Negev. Unrecognized villages are unable to hook up to the state electricity supply. They're not allowed to have public health clinics. They're not allowed to have public schools. It is simply because they're not Jewish, even though they contain citizens of Israel who often serve in the Israeli army as trackers. So you can call it what you want. I call that institutional discrimination or apartheid. Go to the website of the Or movement, which is a subsidiary of the Jewish National Fund, and you will read language that says Rahat was built to concentrate the Bedouin population. This very disturbing language of concentration is featured openly, and that is the plan for these Bedouins, because they have been identified as a demographic threat. They have been identified as a danger to the ethnic purity of the State of Israel. They have never presented a security threat to the State of Israel. It highlights what the real danger is. Danger is not necessarily rockets from Hamas or rockets from Hezbollah, although they cause casualties and terror. The danger is gestating Arab fetuses. Now, when you hear Netanyahu say that these Bedouins present a threat to the Jewish character of the State of Israel, consider if an American president said that Jews or Muslims or another minority group in the United States threatened the white Christian character of the United States. All of you would immediately be up in arms. We'd all walk out of this auditorium together, Hillel, Saif, all of us together in protest of that racist leader. But what I am elucidating here, which we all reject, is the essential logic of Israel as an ethnocracy. And to call Israel a democracy is to besmirch the very concept of democracy. If you don't believe in equality before the law, you're un-American and you don't believe in democracy, period.
Once more into the breach, dear friends.
If anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism, then Zionism is Judaism. If anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism, then Zionism is Judaism. Who else says that? Anti-Semites. Because it's anti-Semites, real anti-Semites, and they exist, who seek to implicate all of the Jews in the world in Israel's crimes against Palestinians. It's anti-Semites who claim that the source of the crisis in Israel-Palestine is Judaism. So this is the situation. It's more dangerous than we think it is. Because anti-Semitism exists. Anti-Semitism exists. Anti-Semitism exists. Anti-Semitism, anti-Semitism,
and whiskers and kittens, bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens, brown paper packages tied up with strings. These are few of my favorite things. Green colored ponies and grease Wappenstrudels, doorbells and slybells and schnitzel mit noodles, wild geese that flies with the moon on the wings. These are few of my favorite things.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
But the way that the Palestinians are being disenfranchised, and the purpose of their disenfranchisement, is to institutionalize and to codify Jewish supremacy. And we're shy about saying that because we're afraid of the anti-Semitic sword, which is a real one. And so the work of Jews for Palestinian Right of Return and the International Jewish Anti-Zionist Network are really critical in this regard. So it's something that I know that I and many others do appreciate, because it gives us room to feel safe in saying, well, this is about Jewish supremacy.
What good do your words do if they can't understand you?